Ceremonies marking the 74th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. People waiting for the city's first National Day fireworks display after a 5-year break. And the U.S. Congress passes a stopgap bill averting a government shutdown. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Today is National Day, marking the 74th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. There will be a fireworks display over Victoria Harbour at 9 this evening. And fanfare and celebratory events were seen on the mainland, with displays of patriotism across state media outlets. The ceremony marking National Day took place at 6 a.m. at Tiananmen Square in Beijing. Stepping in was a contingent of honor guards escorting the national flag. Soldiers saluting to the national symbol. As a military band played the national anthem, the flag was raised. More than 300,000 spectators watched a ceremonious event. The PRC flag aflutter at full mast. Pigeons were released, symbolizing the wish for peace and well-being. Beyond the capital, flag-raising ceremonies were held by branches and military regions of the People's Liberation Army. They include the 73rd Group Army under the Eastern Theater Command and the PLA Force in Tibet, whose barracks are located at an elevation of more than 4,700 meters above sea level. Also holding the flag-raising ceremony were border defense troops. The military from the Northern Theater Command said they wish everyone in the nation felicity and good health from their outpost near Bohai. Celebrating in unison too were state-run news agencies. The People's Daily said despite being impinged by the multiple factors that went beyond expectations internationally and domestically, the party and the country both achieved fruitful results. The state media said there are both opportunities and risks in China's future development, and the country should insist on its path of socialism with Chinese characteristics, calling on the people to join hands with the party to turbocharge the high-quality development of the nation. And here in Hong Kong, a flag-raising ceremony was held at the Golden Bohemia Square this morning. That was followed by a reception celebrating the 74th anniversary of the founding of the PRC. Chief Executive John Lee gave a speech urging the community to unite to create a better Hong Kong. Timothy Lee tells us more.
At 8 this morning, the police flag party marched into Wan Chai's Golden Bohemia Square.
早晨，行政長官，護旗方隊及儀仗隊已經準備好。開始。向國權進來。
Attending the ceremony were Chief Executive John Lee, Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference Vice Chairman Leung Chun-ying, senior government officials, and representatives of mainland organizations in the SAR. Also present were former chief executives Carrie Lam and Donald Tsang. But another former chief executive, Tung Chee-hwa, was absent for the 3rd consecutive year. Fire services and police vessels, as well as government flying service helicopters, also took part in today's ceremony. Residents and tourists visited the Golden Bohemia Square later today.
I am celebrating my country's it is 74th birthday. I am proud I have a very strong country. I am so proud to be Chinese.
Some visitors from Europe shared their thoughts on the occasion.
Unused to me that there are flags everywhere. I'm from Germany and there aren't that many flags, and people being proud of their country, that's very nice, I think.
Hours have passed since the flag-raising ceremony this morning, but many residents and tourists continue to come visit the Golden Bohemia Square this afternoon. Many here said they are hopeful for the nation's future and look forward to Hong Kong's further integration into the Greater Bay Area.
Security was stepped up around Wan Chai during the solemn event. Authorities cordoned off several roads in the area. Roadblocks were set up at the entrances to the Cross Harbor Tunnel and the Western Harbor Crossing. Sources say around 7,500 police officers are on duty to maintain order on National Day. At the central government's liaison office in Hong Kong, a flag-raising ceremony was attended by the director of the liaison office, Zheng Yanxiong, and other officials. Similar ceremonies were held at facilities of the People's Liberation Army in Hong Kong. Meanwhile, at a National Day reception held at the Convention and Exhibition Center, Chief Executive John Lee said this year is special. He said 2023 marked the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, as well as the 20th anniversary of the mainland and Hong Kong closer economic partnership arrangement. Lee reiterated the need to better utilize one country, two systems and integrate the SAR into the nation's overall development. The CE said the city has successfully moved on from the pandemic and authorities are doubling efforts to improve the economy. Lee also quoted from one of President Xi Jinping's speeches at the 20th National Congress, which encouraged the community to work towards the long-term prosperity and stability of the Chinese civilization. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Now we cross over live to the Tsim Sha Tsui Harbourfront Promenade, where hundreds of people have staked out their spots trying to secure the best view for tonight's fireworks display. And our reporter Mimosa Ngai is in Tsim Sha Tsui. Mimosa, what's it like out there?
Good evening, Jackie. The fireworks display still have 90 minutes, but as you can see, crowds have already gathered at the Tsim Sha Tsui Promenade. Many people brought their friends and families. Some also brought glow sticks with them. The firework display is a National Day tradition which has been suspended for 5 years due to the pandemic and social unrest. Tonight, the firework display will last about 23 minutes. Jackie, back to you at the studio.
Meanwhile, continuing the bid to bring back the city's nighttime buzz on National Day, the 3 waterfront night markets remain open today. They include the bazaar along the Wan Chai Promenade, which already drew some crowds in the afternoon. But as the promenade will be a public viewing location for the fireworks display at Victoria Harbour tonight, the Wan Chai night market here was temporarily closed starting 5 p.m. before reopening at 10:30 p.m. Stalls at the Wan Chai Marketplace can open until 2 a.m. tonight. And the city was filled with joyful residents and tourists today as they made the most of free rides and free access to a wide range of leisure activities. Mimosa Ngai has more.
To celebrate National Day, children aged between 3 and 11 can enjoy free rides on most of the MTR rail lines. The railway company is also offering all passengers free rides on light rail and MTR bus routes running in the Northwest New Territories. Meanwhile, children can take advantage of free journeys during the daytime provided by bus companies KMB and Longwing. Trams were packed with people who enjoyed the free trips today. Many indoor and outdoor public leisure facilities are free, including public museums and swimming pools. For movie lovers, 60 cinemas are offering half-price film tickets. The food and beverage sector also provided a series of discounts and concessions to celebrate National Day. Many residents are happy about the promotions. This woman says she wants to spend money thanks to the discounts. This man hopes the discounts can last longer and not just today. This man, a general manager of a food and beverage company, said he is not concerned about potential competitors' food stores at the night market set up under the government's Night Vibes Hong Kong campaign. We welcome any form of measures that can stimulate the city's economy, the manager said. Mimosa Ngai, TVB News.
Macau also held a series of activities to celebrate National Day. At 8 a.m. this morning, the flag-raising ceremony attended by Chief Executive Ho Yat-seng took place at the Golden Lotus Square to celebrate National Day. Also in attendance were Beijing's representative in Macau, members of the People's Liberation Army, as well as senior local officials and community leaders. Overall, about 550 people attended. A National Day fun run kicked off at the square after the ceremony. Overseas, the U.S. Congress averted a government shutdown on Saturday after passing a stopgap funding bill thanks to overwhelming Democratic support. It came after Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy backed down from an earlier demand by his party's hardliners for a partisan bill that only involved Republican votes. A government shutdown would have left millions of federal workers without pay. Nasvi Karim has more.
The yeas are 88. The nays are 9. The bill is passed.
It was a small group of hardline Republicans that held up efforts by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to keep the U.S. government ticking past the Saturday midnight deadline. In the end, McCarthy was forced to abandon his fellow Republicans and reach out to Democrats, who responded positively to help prevent the federal government's fourth partial shutdown in a decade. The Republican-led House of Representatives voted 335 to 91 to fund the government through November 17th, with 209 Democrats voting in favor. The Democratic majority Senate then voted 88 to 9 to pass the measure, with President Joe Biden signing the bill before the deadline at 12:01 on Sunday Eastern Time. Before the vote, McCarthy was even threatened with losing his job as Speaker.
You know what, if somebody wants to remove, because I want to be the adult in the room, go ahead and try. But I think this country is too important. And I will stand with our military, I'll stand with our border agents, I'll stand with those that have to get their medicine from government as well. I think that's too important.
McCarthy did climb down on one hardliner demand, Ukraine. During the next 45 days, the package will not make allowances for funding Ukraine in its war with Russia. A shutdown would have meant no pay for federal workers and the military, air travel disruptions, and a pause in food benefit for vulnerable families. The crisis is a sequel to spring's standoff over raising the debt ceiling, with U.S. President Joe Biden and McCarthy eventually agreeing to set a limit of $1.59 trillion for fiscal year 2024. In a statement, Biden said it should never have come to this, blaming extreme House Republicans for going back on their spring deal. Some Democrats saw it as a victory over likely Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and his MAGA movement.
The American people have won. The extreme MAGA Republicans have lost. We're on a path to avoid a catastrophic extreme MAGA Republican shutdown and to continue to meet the needs of the American people.
Jeffries also called for collaboration with Republicans over the next 45 days and the need to address Ukraine's security concerns. Nasvi Karim, TVB News.
New York City is recovering from floods triggered by torrential downpours on Friday, but many are worried that with the impact of global warming getting more evident, extreme downpours could become more common. More from NBC News.
Tonight, New York City is recovering from Friday's record-setting rainfall. City officials say more than 24 water rescues took place yesterday. Rainfall totals nearly reaching double digits. JFK Airport recording its wettest day since 1948. A staggering more than 7 inches fell in Park Slope in Brooklyn. Bar and restaurant owner Kelly Hayes and a small army of volunteers throwing out thousands of dollars of destroyed merchandise.
This is not going to stop happening. I mean, the city could do a little more, the infrastructure and the storm drains, but yeah, it's climate change.
Outside the bar, the road looked like a river as a whirlpool formed near a drain. It was a dramatic scene, but possibly something that could become more common unless cities take action.
I think we have a lot of work to do. It means investing in response protocols that notify people who might be particularly at risk, people who live in basement apartments. It means investing in drainage infrastructure.
The personal stuff is all lost. It's garbage.
John and his wife Amy's basement in Queens submerged in nearly 4 feet of water.
I've been to war. I've been to the World Trade Center on 9/11. I've been to Katrina. I've seen all kinds of garbage in my life, but this has got to be one of the worst.
Just 2 years ago, in this very same basement, a couple and their child lost their lives during catastrophic flooding during Hurricane Ida. Tonight, the damage is still being tallied, but for one New Yorker, life has returned to normal. This female sea lion at the Central Park Zoo, who was able to swim out of her enclosure, now back home tonight.
And still ahead, Maldives pro-China opposition candidate wins the presidential runoff. A suicide bombing in the Turkish capital of Ankara. And in Illinois in the U.S., a truck carrying toxic substances crashes, leading to the evacuation of nearby residents. Welcome back. Mohamed Muizzu will be the new president of the Maldives after beating the incumbent Ibrahim Mohamed Salih in the runoff. Muizzu, who won 54% of the vote, had championed closer ties with China, while Salih favored another regional power, India. David Garrett reports.
Famed for its turquoise seas, white sand beaches and coral islands, around 250,000 people voted, with polling stations set up in other places such as Sri Lanka and Abu Dhabi for expatriates. Mohamed Muizzu went to vote, having been the leader after the first round, but seeking an outright majority to become president of the Maldives. Muizzu has a clear vision, and that includes closer ties with China. The much younger candidate at 45 told his supporters the country was too close to India and needs stronger ties with China. That would be good for China too, because the Maldives is perfectly situated on east to west shipping lanes. Ibrahim Mohamed Saleh, who also cast his vote on Saturday, battled allegations by Muizzu that he has allowed India an unchecked presence in the country. The 61-year-old insists Indian military in the Maldives was only to build a dockyard. Muizzu, though, promised to remove the foreign troops and balance the country's trade relations, which he said were weighted too heavily in India's favour. It seems Muizzu, the mayor of the capital, Malé, and his proposed pivot to China resonated with voters.
There are certain things that needs to be fulfilled for the general population and not just people who is in the government. So we would like that as a whole for the general population, our needs to be met, to be heard.
Some analysts say the India versus China narrative has been overblown, with Saleh defeated because he failed to deliver on economic expectations and lost the trust of younger voters.
A president who would be someone who even youngsters or elders or anybody who would like to look up to, because he is the president of the country. Everybody should be able to look up to him.
Whatever the reasons, Muizzu's success was shown in a graphic on a local news programme. He's taken a majority, 54% of the vote, and is the winner. Muizzu celebrated his victory with supporters. He shook hands with campaign workers as his opponent conceded. On social media, Saleh called Muizzu president-elect and thanked people for a beautiful democracy. The new leader will be sworn in on November 17th. David Garrett, TVB News.
In Slovakia, pro-Russian former Prime Minister Robert Fico beat his progressive rival Mikhail Šimečka in parliamentary elections after campaigning to end military aid to Ukraine. Fico's Smer SSD party led with almost 24% of the votes, with 98% of the results in. Šimečka's Liberal Progressive Slovakia was second with about 17% of the votes, but the party leader is hoping to prevent Fico from leading the country by forming strategic coalitions. The Voice Party was third with around 15% of the votes and could become the kingmaker in deciding the next government. However, its leftist leader Peter Pellegrini said he was keeping his options open on future coalitions. A Fico government could see NATO member Slovakia challenge the European Union's consensus on support for Ukraine. Turkey says 2 terrorist bombers targeted government buildings in Ankara. One of the attackers died in the blast, and a government spokesman said the other was neutralized, which usually means killed. 2 police officers were slightly injured. CCTV from across the street reveals the size of the explosion, which happened in front of the Interior Ministry at 9:30 a.m. Pedestrians and cars quickly moved away from the scene as smoke filled the sky. A massive security operation got underway with firefighters, police, soldiers, and medical staff all deployed to an area near the Interior Ministry. Authorities have not blamed any particular group, but say the perpetrators stopped their car in front of the gates and set off an explosive device. An area of southern Illinois in the U.S. had to be evacuated after a truck carrying toxic substances crashed and shed its load. The accident killed 5 people, 2 of them children. It was described by police as a multi-vehicle pileup. The truck was carrying anhydrous ammonia, which, although not a serious threat to life, can cause discomfort to the eyes and lungs. The substance is used in fertilizer production. Locals reported feeling unwell as fumes escaped into the air. 500 people who live near Highway 40 had to be evacuated. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.